Welcome to bonus video 4. Now in this bonus video, I'm going to be sharing with you how do you handle objections in a pitch. Now you see, after you have pitched a product or service or an idea and you've spoken, uninterrupted, it's time for the Q&A. And then the audience members, they're going to ask you some questions, your investors, they're going to ask you some questions. So how do you handle those objections effectively? Here are 3 areas to take note of in this framework of handling objections. The first one is to acknowledge. The second one is to paraphrase or reframe. And the third one is going to be proof. So let me unpack each of these in turn. Say, for example, someone comes to you, ask you a question and say, okay, I've heard your pitch. I heard about your service, Darren, your training and your coaching service, but I think it's just way too expensive. When it comes to this kind of objection, which is a price objection, what you want to do is to, step number 1, acknowledge the question. It doesn't mean that I agree with you, but I'm just acknowledging the question and concern of yours. For example, I could say, I hear that you are concerned about pricing when you mentioned that it's expensive. May I try and understand perhaps some of the other people that you have worked with or the other company that you have worked with? So try and understand. If it's a conversation, of course, you can follow up with a question. If not, if it's like a Q&A, and especially when you're on stage, then that is where you will acknowledge that concern. You can say, I fully understand that you are concerned about the pricing. In fact, rightly so, because I understand that you're someone who looks at value and then you want to get the most out of what you pay. Similar to many of the clients that we have worked with, they are also interested in the value that they can get. But let me share with you why they have chosen to work with us instead of other companies who might charge a bit cheaper or maybe even a lot cheaper. Here's the difference in the value proposition. So we then now go on to step 2, which is reframe. Now reframe, we don't necessarily have to use the words that they use. What we can do is that we can frame it in a way that captures the meaning but allows us to address the underlying problem. Like for example, if one person keeps harping on expensive, I don't have to use that word expensive. I can reframe as some individuals may feel that why is it that our price is higher than other companies in the market that they are charging for such a service? See, that it's higher because it paves the way for me later on to share. There's also a difference in terms of the value delivery, in terms of the value proposition that we give, and that's why we charge higher. Imagine you going to a surgeon with 1 year of experience to remove your appendix versus a surgeon with 20 years of experience. Probably the one who has more experience will charge more. And why are you willing to pay more? For the same removal of the same appendix, it's because of certain value proposition and value delivery. Likewise, when people say, oh, I think it's just too expensive, we need to of course understand that you're comparing apples with apples and oranges with oranges. So sometimes I'll ask follow-up questions and find out exactly what is it that the so-called other companies that they are charging and quoting this price, what exactly are they offering? So that I can tell them, hey, there's a difference in terms of our value proposition. Either it's the number of years of experience, there's the difference in the value proposition. Maybe it's in terms of the results that we actually create. Maybe it's in terms of the after-sales service that we provide. Maybe it's in terms of the teaching quality and the engagement level of the speaker. Maybe it's also the kind of evaluation that we provide and that we give to help assist our learners to become better presenters. All these are differences in terms of the value, and we can't exactly say that that's the same thing that the other competitors come up with. So reframe it. You don't necessarily have to use the word expensive, but we can say, yes, I understand that you're concerned about why our price is higher than what the other companies are charging. Here's the value that we provide so that you can compare it whether or not it is something that they do provide. Now, then the next one is proof. So what you can do is that you can prove your value. How do you prove your value? A few ways. One of which is you don't have to discount your value. You can prove your value by, for example, if someone says, hey, you're charging $5,000, it's a little bit too expensive or it's way too expensive. Can you lower the price? So when we lower the price, we don't want to just lower the price like that because it may make it seem as if, oh, I initially inflated my price and I overcharged you. One strategy we can adopt is that we can just reduce certain components. Oh, sure, no problem. We can reduce the price for you. For $5,000, you're going to get A, B, and C in our service delivery. And for $3,000, we will give you A and B, and we in fact have a $2,000 one where we offer A. Which one would be preferable for you? So when you do that, it is basically for them to then consider what's the kind of value that they want. And I'm not discounting because I initially inflated my price. I'm discounting by removing initial components to that. So there's one thing. I can prove my value by showing them, by breaking it down, the individual components, and removing some components. If they feel that they can't pay $5,000, they can pay $3,000 and then see what they want. Most of the time, people still go for the $5,000. The other way to prove, right, is to use your track record, meaning to say you can share with them, oh, that's actually not quite the case because we have this. If someone says that, hey, I have an unpleasant experience because your site did not offer me A, B, and C, then we can prove by saying that, oh, we didn't offer A, B, and C because as what we have communicated, A, B, and C is only provided for individuals who paid $5,000 and above. If you would like, you can also refer to the initial agreement that we have both signed, and we have provided you a copy of which. So you can prove by talking about track record, something that you have done before, by talking about previous correspondence, so you can actually prove, right? Another thing that you can prove is that you can use testimonials of other individuals who have worked with you, what other people say, to actually help boost your credibility and to also boost the value that other people see in you and the value that you can actually provide. So in handling objections, it need not also be price all the time and the value you can give. It can also be based on the projection of how well the market does. So they may object to that. So you can prove that time when you want to prove it, you want to prove that your projection is better, you can prove using the data, the research that you have found. And remember, time, place, manner. When was the research? The place, where do you get it? And then the manner, how was the survey, how was the statistic being accumulated and achieved? So I wish you all the very best in handling objections.